Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ali Arad from Bobco Energies, and I will be your MC for today. It is a privilege to welcome you all to this very important road safety symposium, proudly organized by the Bahrain Occupational Safety Society and sponsored by Bobco Energies, a name synonymous with leadership and responsibility in our community. Every day, road safety impacts our lives, whether we realize it or not. Today, we unite with one shared goal, making our roads safe for everyone. Your presence here shows your commitment to this crucial cause. Thank you for being part of this solution. Before we get started, let us go through the emergency procedures in this facility with Mr. Yasser Safar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have so far no plan for any dress for today. In case of an emergency, please use the back door and right and left door to approach to assembly point. And then we'll wait Mr. Ahmed Khalid to give us a green light to be back to the hall. In case there is any first aid, we have an AED and first aid box, and we are, as first aider, we are ready to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you also for taking us through this such important procedures. Over the next 90 minutes, we will dive into impactful discussions led by experts and key stakeholders who are passionate about turning vision into action in the space of road safety. This symposium is not just about listening. It's about collaboration, innovation, and driving real change. Together, we can save lives. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Mustafa Sayed, is leading voice in health and safety in Bahrain and beyond, whose expertise will challenge and inspire us all to rethink how we approach this vital issue of road safety. Following Dr. Sayed, we will hear from Ms. Nika Henry, head of the UN Road Safety Fund, who will introduce us to the fund's work, who we are, what we do, and how we can collaborate with stakeholders in Bahrain. Her global perspective and experience will shed light on how international efforts can complement and strengthen local road safety initiatives. We are also honored to have a representative from Bahrain Traffic Directorate, First Lieutenant Ahud Al Khalifa, who will share the latest strategies and initiatives shaping traffic safety here in the Kingdom. Also, we are pleased to have with us this afternoon Dr. Ala Zaidan, Chief Health and Safety Training from Al Mashriq Training, who will be covering road safety international trends and challenges. After this compelling presentation, we open the floor to your questions, a vital opportunity for dialogue and sharing ideas. Your voice matters in this conversation. So please hold your questions until the Q&A session to keep our program on track. Now, without further delay, please join me in warmly welcome Dr. Mustafa Sayed to deliver a keynote speech that promises to enlighten, motivate, and challenge us all.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Where to start? I have very mixed emotions. I stood here when I was probably 19 to receive my safety reward for being a safety enthusiast from President of BAPCO, Mr. Waltz, I think, Final Manager Beckett, and grew to become the president of BAPCO, in charge of the entire operation, including Tatweer, which was proud to be one of the founders, members, from the idea to the implementation. And I see a lot of friendly faces around me, headed by my dear friend and safety guru, Ahmed Khalil, and wonderful people around here. So I must say I'm very happy to be with you. I will read my speech, which I have modified a little bit, but written by my wonderful team. I would have started by His Excellency Dr. Abdurrahman Jawahari, but at the last minute, he was caught up in an urgent situation. So I register my utmost respect and appreciation for him as one of the finest leaders of industry in Bahrain and one of the strongest supporters of safety. We do appreciate him. We have Henry from United Nations. I'm so happy that United Nations has road safety fund. It's wonderful to see that the elements of safety has grown so much that each sector has its own support and its fund. It's a very big difference from the days when safety was considered as cost and not as investment into people and into improving the situation. And I welcome Mrs. Mahrous because we worked together many years as well. I welcome the guest speakers, I welcome my colleagues and all attendees from government directors, traffic, who are a key player. We do appreciate the great work they are doing, and we are from the different ministries. I don't know whether Dr. Ismail or Ammar or who has been behind this great gathering of safety leaders. It's wonderful. It gives me comfort to see safety is in good hands. We are here today together with you on a mission that touches all of us. It's about saving lives on the roads. Road safety is not just a transportation challenge, but a vital public health and economic concern across the globe. According to World Health Organization, more than 1.3 million people die from road accidents annually, and 20 to 50 million sustain non-fatal injuries. Many have lifelong disabilities. Road traffic accidents are now the 8th leading cause of death worldwide, and the leading cause of death in young people 5 to 29 years of age, mainly at the age of 18, when they go on a ride, joyride, when they graduate from university and meet their death instead of starting a new life. Road accident cost is more than 3% GDP in most countries, affecting families and societies and society to a great extent. But what price you put on the life of people? On a local level, Bahrain has achieved great advances in driving safety, yet its implementation challenge is still formidable. From the Bahrain Traffic Directorate, data show that the kingdom experiences around 4,000 traffic accidents each year, with hundreds a year of injury and casualties. Being on telephone, speeding, distraction, and infraction, traffic laws remain major drivers of these accidents. But government and civil society initiatives have started to pay off. Stricter penalties, public policy, publicity campaigns, and better infrastructure are examples of measures which have contributed to a decline in fatalities, at least somewhat, over the last 5 years. We don't say in Arabic I, but I was fortunate to introduce to the Bahrain Parliament a bill which was developed into law, supported by the Minister of Interior, and became the Traffic Department law for driving. And I got a lot of support from Bahrain's Health and Society. And at that time, I was shy or afraid to say I'm behind the law because of the fines and people complain. But when I read that the number of fatal accidents have reduced by 60%, now I say I'm proud, I'm behind it. Thank God. The idea of safe driving is not just about the public. The idea is important for occupational safety in industries with a significant reliance on transport and logistics. And it's so appropriate to have this important meeting in a very important industry in Bahrain, in Babco, in Awali, in this wonderful place. This interaction of the society, or interaction of safety on the road and safety of the workplace, is where we can effect a greater positive change by instilling the culture of discipline, like we have in industry, training, vigilance, accountability, and prevention. We at Bahrain Health and Safety Society dedicate ourselves to building this culture by teaching, advocating for policy, and acting seriously to do that. In conclusion, I have a word for my team in safety, and they're a wonderful team. Ahmed Khalil, Dr. Ismail, I must not forget the key player, Nadal, Hammar, Ahmed, Ali, and a lot of members who voluntarily work over the years and committed to make people's life better. I thank them. What can I say? Finally, I say, let's learn from each other. This is a wonderful opportunity, to be honest. Let's learn from each other and cooperate to build safer roads for drivers, pedestrians, workers, and families. Stay safe,
Yes.
enjoy driving. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Mustafa Sayyid, for this insightful and inspiring keynote speech. Your expertise truly set the stage for the important conversations we will have today. Next, it's my great honor to introduce Ms. Nika Henry, Head of the UN Road Safety Fund. Ms. Henry will share with us who the UN Road Safety Fund is, what they do, and how they can envision collaborating with stakeholders here in Bahrain to enhance road safety efforts. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Nika Henry to the stage.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's my absolute pleasure to be here in Bahrain. It's my first visit, and I'm already making plans to vacation and maybe even move here. It's fabulous. I really love your country. So thank you for your warm hospitality so far. And I'm looking forward to spending the next few minutes just sharing a little bit about the work that I do at the United Nations on road safety, which I can see is a topic that is on top of mind for many of you, and hopefully also embedded in the hearts of many of you. So I wanted to start by sharing I wanted to share why we exist as the UN Road Safety Fund. And thank you very much, Dr. Mustafa, for already setting the stage and the tone for this. Because my first slide was really going to be around the global situation. Why is this a global crisis that there actually has to be a sustainable development goal around halving road deaths? And these numbers were already touched upon by Dr. Mustafa, so I won't spend too much time on this here. Rather, what I will do is drill down a little bit into some statistics which should be interesting for you to really showcase why a UN Road Safety Fund needs to exist. So what you see here is some information about the death rate, the road death rates in different regions. And if we start with what's happening in the Eastern Mediterranean region, which is where we find the Gulf countries being classified, we see that the Kingdom of Bahrain is doing relatively well when you consider that the average death rate in the region is 16.4 per 100,000. But we know that the numbers behind this is quite disturbing. We heard the absolute numbers just a few moments ago, and even one death is too much. But relatively speaking, we see that there is a lot of progress in terms of getting the numbers down, but we can still go lower. And I say this because we know the countries that are implementing and investing in road safety, they're at 1 and 2. So where I live right now in Switzerland, for example, it's 2 per 100,000. In countries like Sweden, it's also 2 per 100,000. So we know it's possible to attain a lower ratio. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you can see that there is still quite some room for improvement. In fact, it actually is exceeding the average for the region. So there's a lot to do there. In fact, that's a country that I'm going to tomorrow to have similar discussions with stakeholders there. And you can see the rest of the numbers. Interestingly, I wanted to point out, because it's from your region, that 2 years ago, the World Health Organization did their global status report, where they look around all the world to see how countries are doing and performing, and which countries are actually already meeting the SDG target to halve road deaths. And there were 10 countries that they found were already meeting the target. And among the 10 countries, we have found the United Arab Emirates. So within your region, there's already one country that has successfully met this target. So again, even closer to home, we know it's possible. We don't even have to look to Europe. We see that, I think it was about 12 years ago, United Arab Emirates was reporting 12 deaths per 100,000. And in the report, as assessed by the WHO, they were down to 6. And that's how they were able to meet this target and to be among the top 10 countries doing that. So the reason that I'm putting Africa there, it's because even though countries still have room for improvement, so the gaps that we face in Bahrain, for example, and I will talk a little bit about what some of those gaps are, the road safety gaps that are happening here and in the region, there are other countries that are facing exactly the same gaps. But there are some nuances, because even though you have similar gaps, the repercussion, the death rate is exponentially higher in those countries. So I just wanted to showcase Africa, for example. So Guinea, which is in Africa, has one of the highest death rates, road death rates. It's already up to 37 per 100,000, so it's quite high. And you can see some of the examples from Ghana, Kenya, and Tanzania. So just to show that one of the main reasons that we were created was to really see how we can close that gap. Because the knowledge on road safety is applicable to all countries. I mean, you adapt, you prioritize, but the knowledge is there. The evidence is there. We know that you need to build the road a certain way. We know that you need to invest in education and awareness. We know that, for example, the vehicles must be safe and they must have safety features, and the list goes on and on and on. But for some reason, the gaps that countries are facing are having different results. And we have a special envoy who represents the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Guterres. The special envoy is called Mr. Jean Todt, and he travels around the world advocating to ministers, the heads of states, to really explain the gravity of the situation, but also to relate to them that there are solutions that can be implemented. And as he's doing this work, he's been doing this now 10 years, he realized that actually the countries that are having the highest rates, they really have a critical challenge in terms of knowledge and how to apply that knowledge, and also resources to invest in improving the systems. They really don't even know where to start. Sometimes the conversations, even myself, with ministers of transport, it's astounding the little knowledge that is there within a Ministry of Transport. And so we see, and Mr. Todd, he saw that there was a real need for knowledge transfer and for capacity building. And that is when he took the initiative to form the UN Road Safety Fund. And he did this by collecting, let's say, like-minded stakeholders, mostly from the private sector. So many private sector companies, including, for example, Total Energies, came to the table. Bahrain, the government of Bahrain, from the Ministry of Interior, also came to the table. And we had many other stakeholders coming to the table and making financial contributions to actually set up the UN Road Safety Fund. And I will go in a little bit of detail about what we're doing. But this is kind of the origin of the UN Road Safety Fund, and this was in 2018. Mr. Todd has his mandate since 2015. So in the first 3 years, he understood the problem. He took some steps to set up the fund, and then we've been operating since then. It's not here, so this is not the latest deck I had, but I had a little box there that was showing you what was happening in neighboring countries as well, because I thought it would be of interest to you. And I wanted to show you that because even though the rate for the region is 16.4 and Bahrain is 7, it's not really a cause for celebration when you consider the other countries that are in the Eastern Mediterranean region. So the reason that the average is so high is because you're also considering that, for example, in countries like Afghanistan, it's 24.1. And countries like Morocco, it's 19 per 100,000. So just to say that, it's not an absolute comfort that Bahrain is at 7 or that Qatar is at 7, because you're comparing in a way to countries that are really having a very bad situation. So the point here is that there's always room for improvement. I will pause there and maybe go to another slide. So let's see if I. Okay. Okay. So maybe I'll start here. So why road safety matters. Just to touch on this, I know that we have the Ministry of Labor here, Ministry of Interior, but also most of you are from industry, from back home, from other companies. And I just wanted to flag, if it wasn't immediately obvious to you, that even though Bahrain could be considered relatively safe compared to other countries in the world when it comes to road safety, there is still there's some economic, societal interest in thinking about road safety. And I just wanted to spend 2 seconds just to flag those. So essentially, what we discuss with our potential partners on coming to the UN Road Safety Fund and coming to work on road safety is really flagging the global alignment and the fact that working on road safety can make a real contribution to community safety, which I think is of great interest to Bahrain and to many industry players. But also, I like to say that safety sells, because there is so much cost, apart from losing a life, which is huge for the family and for the community. There's so much cost associated with the road crashes, from vehicle damage to loss of productivity and also other disruptions to the business. credibility as well. I also understood that when you're safer and you can report safety benchmarks, you can also get some economic benefits. For example, better deals on your insurance, for example, as an industry player. So just wanted to just briefly highlight that, of course, aside from societal impact, there's also an economic impact behind this road safety story that I think should be also in the back of our heads as we think about why we want to get involved in working on road safety. So I wanted to go back here now because I will go a little bit more deeper into what it is that the UN Road Safety Fund has been doing for the last 7 years. And my starting point is actually looking at some of the road safety gaps in Bahrain. I'll also flag some of the things that you've been doing particularly well. So what I wanted to show here is that even though Bahrain is a great country, beautiful, it's small, the hospitality is warm, and the fact that also you've been investing a lot in road safety in different aspects. I mean, the roads are so well maintained here compared to many other countries. And I understand that there are investments taking place in terms of use of technology to help with enforcement. And there are many measures that you're putting forward. But that being said, there are still some important gaps which could be attributed to the road crashes that we still are facing here in the country. For example, we know that there is no mandatory seatbelt requirement for people in the back of the car. And this is an issue which has proven to actually save lives when you do have a crash. We see some other gaps being mentioned here. We also know that there could be some room for improvement in terms of multidisciplinary crash investigation. How do we collect the data in the first place, but also how do we analyze the data so that you can understand where are the real priorities and triggers that you need to focus on for your future interventions. So there is always some room for improvement, even here in Bahrain. I also know from reading the newspapers that the motorcycle riders is an increasing problem here. The delivery riders are an increasing problem here. And these are not unique problems. As I said, we have the same issues in many other countries. But because you've been investing in other areas of the safety system, you're able to absorb a little bit these gaps that I'm just flagging here now. But it's not the case in other places, such as in Southeast Asia or Africa. If they have these same gaps, but their resilience is much lower because they're also having other gaps in other areas. So just wanted to flag that there is some commonality in terms of the gaps that we need to address, just so that you are aware of this, but also that you're aware of what's happening here in your own country. There are other issues that I know are relevant here. Speed, and that's also a global issue. And also distracted driving is increasingly a problem everywhere. So just again to underscore that the challenges are very much being shared. These are some of the examples of what Bahrain has been investing in to make it so resilient and to improve on the road safety record. And I'm sure, especially with having Minister of Interior here, this list would be far longer than what is here now. But this is just to show that we do recognize the efforts that are being made here, very important ones. So back to what we do here at the UN Road Safety Fund. So essentially, the first paragraph is quite important, which is basically saying that the countries that are creating their national road safety systems based on international regulatory framework, so based on international UN best practices, these are the countries that are really having the best performance in road safety, and this has really been proven. In fact, the safe system approach of tackling vehicle safety and post-crash emergency care and tackling road safety behavior and tackling road design and all these different aspects, tackling it as a system approach. This was originated in Sweden. So it's no surprise that Sweden and neighboring countries are doing extremely well when it comes to road safety because they've actually been implementing it in a systematic way based on international regulatory framework. And so this is the approach that the UN Road Safety Fund is taking. We are essentially providing support to UN member states using the safe system approach, and our framework framework of action is actually based on the safe system approach. So there you see the different areas that we work in and the different pillars that we work in. And this is a very known sort of matrix. This is sort of the safe system approach matrix. Essentially, we try to tackle everything that's here. We reach out every year to member states to ask them, how can we support? In what ways can we support? We're not there for 5 years. We're there to do a critical gap. So if you need help with the law on child restraints, we can come in and do the knowledge transfer, the capacity building to help you with that. If you are a city or a municipality and you are really trying to figure out how you're going to finance your national road safety plan or your strategy, but you need some ideas about what's working in other places to unlock financing for road safety, we can come in and do that knowledge transfer, that capacity building, and then we step back so you can continue the journey. So countries have to demonstrate that they're already walking the journey. They've faced a problem, a hurdle in the road. We will come in to help them to remove that hurdle, and then they continue the journey. And that's how the Road Safety Fund has been operating. So we're really covering all these different areas now, and after 7 years, we have been able to help 94 countries to close these kinds of gaps that I'm talking about. So putting in place a law or working with the police force on best practices around speed management, as we did. Well, I will give some examples later. So very happy about the kind of support that we provided. The challenge that we're facing at the fund, though, is that these 94 countries and the gaps that we're supporting them with closing, they have many other gaps to close. So we have an issue of scale. So we're always continually looking for partners to really help the fund to continue to provide the support to member states that they need. You can imagine a country, for example, like Morocco or Nigeria. You can pick any one of them. One gap that we close will not be enough to really help them meaningfully along the journey. And so we are continually getting requests for support, and we need to find a way through new partnerships to provide that support. I said that every year we ask member states how we can support. Every year, on average, we get around 100 requests. And every year, on average, we can only positively respond to 5 to 8 of them, based on the level of funding. So the scale is a real issue, and that's why part of my work involves, traveling around, exposing what the fund is doing, and hopefully engaging new partners to support us in different ways, which I will mention what those ways look like. So just giving you a little bit of a snapshot. So in 94 countries, we have over 50 projects. So I'm not going to go through all 52 projects that we have, but some of these issues, I found them to be quite relevant to the situation here in Bahrain. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a sample of what we're doing in those kinds of topics. Because we already have projects where, for example, even though it's benefiting Tunisia and it's benefiting Morocco, we have Oman self-funding to be part of our project because they also want to take away the lessons from the project to take back home. So even though we're orienting our resources to lower income countries, high income countries are all welcome to join because it's about learning and sharing. But we understand that some lower income countries don't have the resources to implement, and so that's why we focus our resources towards them. But the learning is always available to all. Similarly, we also have industry players who join our projects on a similar basis. So even companies like Honda or Autoliv, Renault, and other companies, Total Energies Foundation as well, they join our projects depending on what the topic is. So Total Energies has a focus on youth, for example. And so when we have our programs that are benefiting youth, we see them coming to the table in terms of project design, just trying to understand how do we map out projects, how do we prioritize our work that promotes youth. So we welcome partners to the table, not just in terms of funders, but really how do we learn from you and how do we help you to progress in what you're doing. So it's really a partnership approach that we're taking on board. So just briefly saying that in Brazil, Based on international best practice, we're working with the state of Para in Brazil, with the traffic department there. So very much like the Ministry of Interior, Directorate of Traffic. And we did quite a very interesting piece of work there with them that already yielded some amazing results in terms of reduction in road crashes and road deaths. And we did a lot of training, not only in terms of what's the best time to do the checks, where to do the checks, use of breathalyzers. So there was a whole package of training and support that we provided there with some very tangible results. We also have a very interesting program in Eastern Europe, in Bosnia and Serbia, where it's around the use of multidisciplinary crash investigation methodology. And this is based on international best practice as well. And what's interesting there is that topic is really resonating with so many countries. We even have Canada coming to really form a committee that they can take lessons from that project to help to replicate in Canada, but also other countries that are partners to Canada. So the work that we're doing in our project is really not just for the country on the ground that we're on the spot supporting, but it's how do we create a global kind of manual or toolkit that people can also kind of learn from to apply on their own. Addressing youth, I mean, we heard from Dr. Mustafa's presentation how heavily impacted our young people are. And so we have quite a few of our programs that are really thinking about how do we keep our youth safer, not just the ones who are behind the wheel, but also the ones who are walking or cycling their bicycles. So looking a lot on urban safety, for example, and how that impacts the users there, which a lot of them are young people. We also look a lot on school zones. So we work in partnership with governments in Vietnam, in Zambia, all over the world, which is about how do we improve the safety around the perimeter of the school. Is there a speed limit that's in place that's appropriate for that? Is there crosswalks? Is the road infrastructure appropriate for children who are, they're children, so we need to keep them safe. So there's a lot of work that we do there, including with urban planners, with educators, with parents as well, with communities, that we work a lot on road infrastructure improvements that will ultimately be benefiting our young people. And then motorcycle safety, which again I mentioned is something I understand is becoming an increasing issue here. This is a big area of focus for us at the UN Road Safety Fund. The last WHO report, it revealed that the motorcyclists are the road user group that is actually increasing the most in terms of exposure to road crashes and road deaths. And so we're particularly concerned about that. I didn't know it was such a big issue here, but it certainly is a humongous issue in Southeast Asia. So we have a lot of programs there. So the point is, there are programs that we do for countries all over the world that, you're welcome to join, to participate in, to learn, to see how does that internalize and apply to the Bahrain and to the region as well. So a lot more to uncover there, but I just wanted to kind of flag and highlight these few projects that we're doing. So I just wanted to flag this. I mentioned that we have a special envoy for road safety, Jean Todd. That's actually his wife at the top. She's Malaysian, Michelle Yao. She's an Oscar-winning actress. And he created this program, this awareness-raising program, where he has famous people who are doing different road safety messages. Very light, but it's about reaching and engaging the youth. It's about reaching and engaging people who respond to this. There's also another profile of celebrities, which are sports celebrities. So he also works with the gold medalists from the Olympic Championship Games, from UEFA Championship Games, and they also have similar kind of posters. And this partnership is with JC Deco, which is the #1 billboard company in the world. And they're in almost every country. So you will see the billboards in airports, you will see them at bus stops, you'll see them on highways, and they've given us free space to project these campaigns. So it's a partnership that we have with them. They're giving us what they have, which is billboards, and we're giving the content. And we also secure the stars. Jean Todt is himself very influential, so he knows quite a bit of these people, or knows the people who knows them. So this is working quite well. But I just wanted to flag this because this is an area that we are also working on a lot, which is global awareness and global communications. And I know that some corporations, they like to get involved in that kind of thing. So even though this is just one example, we have others of how we partner with industry to really raise the profile on road safety and to raise awareness, especially among our young people. So this is one of the ways that we can engage with Bahraini stakeholders. So this is a flashy version. We can have an adaptation. We like to launch the campaign in each country that we go to, that Mr. Todd goes to. So we can already plan for such a launch using your own national celebrities here in Manama. So this is just one example of how we can engage with you when it comes to awareness raising. There was another example, but it's gone now, but it's more on the impact level. So another type of partnership, which is our main type of partnership, is we have stakeholders who work with us to basically make sure that we have more programs running. We have stakeholders that come and they say, well, we have a strong interest on data, and we'd love to see more support going to countries in my neighborhood. So in your case, you could say, well, I think, Libya and Tunisia, they need support. Lebanon, let's have a program to support the neighborhood. We will join, we will learn as well, and we will all benefit from the learnings around data. We also have, there was a program that we did in Zambia. It's a road safety investment case, and it's the first of its kind. So essentially, we introduce economic modeling. It's something that we do for other topics like nutrition or alcohol or smoking. We use economic modeling to understand which interventions will give you the best outcome in terms of reducing deaths, but also will give you the best return on financial investment. And so it gives you a sense of where would you put, if you had this amount of money, where would you put it? Would you put it on speed bumps, or would you put it on something else? Would you put it on speed management? Do you put it on building hospitals? So it looks at priority interventions, and it gives you a sense of what would be the best return on investment and over what period of time. And we launched that in Zambia, and as soon as it was released, all the GCC countries were like, okay, sign us up, we would like to do this as well. I mean, they self-funded and have been implementing this methodology on their own, just to have that learning. So there is a benefit to the work that the fund is doing, not just for developing countries, but also for countries like Bahrain and the Gulf. So I'll just close by saying that all of this work that I've just highlighted, it's not me who's doing it. I manage the Secretariat of the UN Road Safety Fund, which is based in Geneva. And the Secretariat is 4 people. And what we're doing is essentially portfolio management. So we are the ones who are engaging with the project implementers to say, these are the priorities, these are the trends, this is what the statistics is saying. We're working with WHO to get, which countries really need the support. So how do we prioritize what we are going to be working on in the future? We're the ones who are doing the strategic planning. We're the ones who are doing the donor engagement and the communications and the annual reporting. But when it comes to on the ground, it's the team on the right, the global partnerships team. They're the ones who are implementing because they're the experts. So, for example, we have UN Environment. They're the lead on our program together with the UN Economic Commission, UNECE, our program for safer and cleaner used vehicles. It's probably not an issue here, but there is no global standard for the level of quality and safety that you will apply when you import a used vehicle. But through our program, which is now global, we started in Africa, then we went to Asia, now we're in Latin America and the Caribbean, which is basically us training the governments to adopt mandatory regulation around the standards of used vehicles that their country will import. And this is amazing because there is a lot of bad stories around unsafe cars that are being imported. And so we're working on that to make sure that countries are not having to accept these unsafe cars which are used. UN Habitat, for example, is the cities expert of the UN system. So they're doing a lot of our cities work on redesigning cities, on engaging with communities to raise awareness and so on. So lots of different expertise here. WHO obviously has a lot to do on our post-crash care work with the Ministry of Health and so forth. And yeah, many other examples of partners here. UNICEF working a lot with us with the school safe zones and educating our young people. And then on the other side, we have the funders, the people whose financial support, whether it's cash or in kind, makes it possible for us to do the work. And I'm sure you will recognize one of the flags there at least. But we want to grow this side as well. We've been growing this side because now we have civil society partners. IRAP, some of you may know IRAP, it's the International Road Assessment Program. And they're the ones who are internationally recognized to benchmark the safety of the road. So 3 stars mean it's safe, 5 stars means it's top notch. So we're working to make sure that at least 75% of the roads by 2030 are 3 stars and above. So we are slowly growing this side as well based on the expertise that we need, but we're certainly also trying to grow the other side as well. I think I will stop here and happy to at some point engage with you all and to answer any questions that you may have. And again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share what the UN is doing on road safety and for flagging some ways that we can work together with you on this agenda. Great.
Thank you, Ms. Nika Henry, for that enlightening presentation and for sharing the vital role of UN Road Safety Fund and advancing global and local safety initiative. Now the organizers would like to present token of appreciation for presenters and the host. I would like to invite Dr. Mustafa Sayed on the stage. And Ms. Nika, please remain on the stage to receive a token of appreciation.
Oh, it's for me. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. He wanted to.
May I call representative of Traffic Police Directorate to receive a token of appreciation, please?
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Got it. Perfect.
Okay. Dr. Ala, please on the stage to receive the token of appreciation. Now I would like to invite Dr. Ismail Hussain to the stage to receive token of appreciation on behalf of Popco Energies. Now we are privileged to hear from First Lieutenant Uhud Al Khalifa, representing Bahrain Traffic Directorate, who will provide us with important updates on traffic management and safety strategies within the kingdom. Their insight will give us a closer look at the practical steps being taken on the ground to make our roads safer for everyone. Please join me welcoming the representative from Bahrain Traffic Directorate to the stage. Okay.
Good morning to our distinguished guests. I'm First Lieutenant Uhud Al Khalifa from the General Directorate of Traffic. In the beginning, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Health and Safety Society for their continuous interest and efforts in promoting traffic safety. Your role has been invaluable in raising awareness and influencing good behavior change. I would like to also thank both for organizing this event and for their support throughout the years. I extend my gratitude to Ms. Nika Henry, Head of United Nations Road Safety Fund, and to Dr. Ala. The General Directorate of Traffic is committed to achieving road safety and road safety users. It's in our mission and goals to reduce violations and traffic accidents through a wide range of initiatives and mechanisms, while still keeping the pace of modern technology such as artificial intelligence and digital transformation. This effort aims to promote strong strong culture for road safety and enhance public awareness and even enhance all safety to others. Wow.
Good afternoon, all. Madam Speaker, as you're mentioning about motorcycle accidents in Bahrain, you are true, you are absolutely right. The number of motorcycle accidents are more in Bahrain. There was a time in Bahrain we don't have that delivery motorcycle riders. We have pressure riders as well. During the COVID, the number of riders have been increased and we have different nationalities. And we had the initial stage of awareness giving difficulties of this. Even though they are completing the training course and they are on the roads, they don't even follow the traffic rules. But now, recently we have started the refreshment course for the delivery boys with the companies, and we give them knowledge that mostly are from the Asian subcontinent. We inform them that it's your life is important for them, and we ask the companies to reward them, because we always give them, when they do the violation, we give them tickets, but you have to reward them also, so that they will be encouraged. So we are working a lot for that. And as in the beginning you mentioned about the number of deaths in Bahrain, we are happy to see that, but we are not reached the limit. We will work hard for that. So next time you will be here, inshallah we'll do our level best to do that, to reduce that. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I hope that my sound is not so loud. Having had my prize, I was just teasing with Dr. Ismail and with my CEO to go home because I had my prize. I'm so impressed and so baffled and happy to be invited by all this lapse of people from the Bahrain Health and Safety Society, Bahrain Babco Energies. I'm so happy for that I have this privilege to be invited. My background is an orthopedic surgeon. I've been here in Bahrain for over 30 years now. I don't want to sound more old than that. But what really breaks my heart from day one in my practice as a doctor, I had the privilege to be trained by courageous mentors. So I'm used to see accidents and work in different and complex traumas and stuff like that. But really what breaks my heart is to see a mother crying for the death of her only son or daughter because there is no click in a seatbelt. Every now and then we keep seeing that, whether I was trained in Liverpool, in Germany, here in Salmania, it breaks my heart. This is what defeats me as a doctor. And this is what makes me so passionate about studying defensive driving. All right. So I'm just approaching the challenges from the point of why we are having a lot of difficulties and suffering a lot of accidents in spite of this complex and sophisticated technologies and amazing campaigns, amazing public awareness, but still we suffer from that. But what is road safety? Road safety is basically strategies to keep us away from having any accidents, focusing on improving, modifying, tweaking the behaviors of drivers, and following the safety and traffic regulations. However, road safety rotates around the 4 E's: enforce, educate, emergency response, and engineering. So, I want every one of you to ask yourself, Are you a defensive driver? Or you are a Schumacher, or every now and then overtaking from the right-hand side, cross-roading the yellow line? Are we defensive driving? Defensive driving is basically someone who considers other drivers. He preserves lives, he preserves time, he preserves money, and he creates around him a road community which is so much safe. And he comes to a perfect decision because he believes in one principle: there is no right of way. If I'm even on the highway and it's my right to be on this highway, still, and someone is coming from another entry or another exit, it's still, I shouldn't consider it's not my right of way. It's the right of anyone, because the highways or any roadway is the right for everyone, because the roads is meant to be for all of us. So, driving to save lives and time and money in spite of conditions around you, appreciating the conditions around you. So, this is very interesting. I started to look around in the statistics for Bahrain, Egypt, because I'm Egyptian, and United States, and I noticed something amazing about Bahrain, is the fatalities compared to 2023 is less by 6.6%. It goes from 90 to 84. You got this is very important. However, it's very important to notice that from 903 recorded crashes, there is a mark of rise of 847 in 2023. So there is an increase in car crashes. However, the fatal crashes was reduced from 63 to 60 only. This is a fantastic approach. Total crashes was 903, fatal crashes was 60, down from 63, 2023. And by the way, I had all of this reports from Elon Musk Grok and different reports, by the way. So, Manama is the center of most crashes and deaths and fatalities. If you look here, 188 crashes, 14 deaths, 105 serious injuries. Mainly Manama area, which is expected, at any place where there is a crowded traffic jams, mixed traffics, high roads, all of this, it's expected to happen that. What is the international debt? Information is power. So in order to visualize our own international data and come to brilliant decisions for improving what we could do better, we have to have data. And most of 30% of road traffic accidents results are fatalities. And serious injuries are 50%. And minor injuries are only 20%. This is an international debt. It's accrued debt. What are the major challenges? You can see. If you see someone like that, we call them an aggressive driver. So, how are you going to deal with an aggressive driver? Someone stood beside you in a traffic light, and he looked you in your eyes, and he started cursing you. What are you going to do? Are you going to fight back? Are you going to insult him? What are you going to do? Big question. They call it aggressive driving. They call it road fury. Another issue here, the two issues in the last two pictures or photos. Death by mobile phone. Up till 2000, the death in the United States was due to speeding coupled with driving under alcohol influence. Beyond 2003, it was more than 50,000 per year, and coupled with death using mobile. And the more you are using the mobile while you're texting, using WhatsApp, using FaceTime, using whatever, the more you are away 2 seconds from your road, then you have the chances of 50% of car crash. Imagine that. So texting is the worst thing. Again, the misconception is that, well, there is no point. Now, our social life is going down. We are reduced to beings using electronics, mobile phones, and I keep asking myself, are we using the mobiles or the mobiles are using us? So we are moving from holdables to wearables to implantables. So we don't want to be the slaves of a mobile phone. So mobile phone, even if it is on speaker and you are not holding it, your eyes is on the road. However, but your brain is in with the whole concept of chatting and dialogue and stuff like that. Because our brain is not a multitask. You use your mobile phone, you can use different tasks, different maneuvers, but your brain is not a multitask organ. Once you have a complex task, you have to break it into steps. So this is one of the most important, barriers that you can face while you're driving. An aggressive driver using your mobile. Again, look to this guy. What about if you meet this guy and he's on drugs? And still, one of our mistakes as medical doctors is that when we prescribe drugs, sometimes we forget to tell the patient, don't drive that, especially if you're working in a busy emergency room and stuff like that. So please take it as a tradition, as a habit. Whenever you go and have a prescription, ask the pharmacist, am I able to drive? Also, the herbal medication is very important. You have to make sure they are healthy, but it can keep you a little bit relaxed and stuff like that. Also, alcohol. Alcohol is a big problem. Even on the whole globe, it's a global problem. So all these are driving impairment and physical hazards that can face a driver while he is driving. So we have to put this in our mind. Also fatigue driving, lack of sleep. And we have here an expert in sleep medicine, Dr. Abdurrahman. Also, if you're sleepy, people keep, hitting themselves, drinking coffee, having energy drinks. But the best treatment for sleep is to sleep. And this is something important we have to bear in our mind. So, whenever you face someone who's aggressive and angry, remember the three magics of the 3 R's. You have to reflect. You can be in a big meeting and you are a big shot and someone faces you with a question and you cannot answer it. The minute you keep silent for a minute, you reflect, and then you reframe the situation, and then you refocus on your target. So reflect, reframe, refocus. Whenever you face someone who's aggressive, insulted you, keep silent, control your emotions, reframe the situation, play mind games on your mind. Say maybe this man is psychotic, this man maybe he has a psychological problem, this man maybe has a perseverance, maybe this man has a problem in Salmonella, his mom is sick. So always try and find an excuse and then refocus on your main target, which you arrive to your own destination safe. This is very important. So, seatbelts. And I have a funny story about seatbelts. But seatbelts has proven, according to the recent research carried in Chicago by the National Safety Council, 70% success. And we have a very common statement in the emergency room in Salmonella, where the man who is not wearing a seatbelt and he has a flip over accident, you never see him because he goes straight to the morgue. And if he's lucky, he might be in a coma, and we never know when he can wake up. But the man who is wearing a seatbelt, most of the time, he will come walking to the emergency room and asking you to do an X-ray. And I have a very funny story. The idea and the brilliance of the seatbelt is that it keeps you in the most convenient and safe place of the car, which is the car cabinet. Because an accident has 3 stages. External, which is the exterior of the car towards the wall, towards another, and the internal accident, which is what happens to the passenger inside the car, and internally, what happens in your body between the 2 fixed points, which is the rib cage and the spine. And most important thing, we forget that it is your responsibility to keep everyone restrained, especially the one in the rear seat. Because whenever there is a frontal impact and this rear-seated passenger is not restrained, he will travel like a bullet and he will hit the driver in his neck and he can die, although he's wearing a seatbelt. So please wear seatbelts. Speeding. We know speeding, and I'm happy here in Bahrain that they have this beautiful traffic adaptive management system in speed limits. Maintenance problem, we have always to update the safety and vehicle safety. Road design, we don't have any road design issues in Bahrain because it's the roundabout system, the one-way system, the traffic lights, that's fantastic. Technology. What is the emerging technology? We will talk about that. First of all, this is the role not only of the traffic directory, it is the role of the public, is to follow the regular enforcement law. Effective traffic laws are essential in regulating the driver behavior. If I don't have law, I don't have a regulation, nobody will be able to control me. It's not about controlling, it's about regulating your own behavior. Because most of us, sometimes I keep asking myself, I know the regulations, I know how to drive, but why I just cross the red light? Why I do this violation? Although I know it's most of this violation, it comes from intelligent people. And we keep asking from behavior psychological point of view, why is this happening? Still, it is investigated. So, the emerging technology, automation is coming. And the advanced driver assistance management system. Brilliant. You're driving a car, instead of having a visual field of 180, you have a visual field of 360, using radars, sensors, system fusion. They collect the data. This data is gone to an AI system, and this AI system translated to you as a driver in order to respond, or it can interfere. So the automation now, it has different levels. Level 5 is total automation. Level 4 is the automation which is carried now on in Abu Dhabi with the taxis, but still in certain areas we call it a geo fencing areas. So this is a very important point, which is the advanced driver assistance management. Also adaptive traffic lights, brilliant. Also, the inductive loops. Also, different traffic trackers where I am able to classify the different and identify the patterns of the traffic. So data is very important. And from where I take all of this data? From reports, from surveillance, from accident reports, and then I collect it. I have a big data. I start doing and analytic studies. So, In Mashriq, we had a success story. 2 years ago, we started a program for heavy vehicle with Bahrainis from different education levels, and we trained over 400 Bahrainis in collaboration with the Labor Department and Tamkeen. So this reflects a global education program in collaboration with Tamkeen, and it is an initiator, and it also initiates and encourages and empowers defensive driving. What are the challenges? As the brilliant key speaker Nikat mentioned, the infrastructure, the traffic rules, all of these are challenges, global challenges, that it should be borne in the mind of the people who are dealing with these situations. Best practices, I believe from this year we are going from automation to expected growth, projected increase in road safety technologies, and implementation of safety policies. I want to just summarize. I'm coming to the summary. What are the challenges? If I come to the behavior, I would say speeding, aggression, distraction, and impairment. If I come to the infrastructure gaps, it's probably in the road design and poorly designed roads, and vehicle safety. Maybe we have an outdated safety system checking. Safety is not a gadget. It is a state of mind. It is a belief. It is an investment. It's an equal part. It's a lifestyle, by the way. And here is what I want to conclude my talk. Are you a defensive driver? If you look here, this is the formula. R-U-A. R, recognize the hazard. U, understand the defense. A, act correctly in time. So, the defensive driver is the driver who has the talent, the capability, the ability, the competency to identify the hazard, to understand the defense, and act correctly in time. So what are the 10 commandments of defensive driving? Number 1, please wear your seatbelt. Number 2, evaluate the driving condition. Avoid impaired driving. Use the what-if strategy. The what-if strategy is the strategy that you keep on doubting yourself. What if this guy comes back? What if someone intersects on me? What if this guy in front of me, he had a sudden brake? Avoid distracted driving. Maintain emotional control. Avoid fatigue driving. Maintain a proper, safe following distance, which is the 3 seconds. The ROSPA recommends 2 seconds. The National Safety Council recommends the 3 seconds. I like to go with the 3 seconds because I'm an old man and I like to be a little bit, coward in this situation. Always have a plan and consider other drivers. And this is the conclusion. Road safety is a multifaceted. It doesn't fall on one category. It doesn't fall on the government. It falls on the public sector. It identifies the behavior, how we prevent road traffic accidents. It's a global approach. We need an effective policy enforcement steered by the global initiative. We need innovations such as the advanced driver assistance systems, and with stakeholder cooperation, meaning we need the private sector to have a word with us. And probably I would love to thank you, all of you, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
شكرا. عايز مني حاجة؟ هنا؟
Thank you, Dr. Ala, for the detailed and insightful presentation. We now come to an important part of today's symposium, the Q&A session. This is an opportunity to ask questions, share your thoughts, and engage directly with our distinguished speakers. Please raise your hand, and our team will bring a microphone to you. Let's have a lively, constructive discussion as we work together towards safer roads in Bahrain. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Paulinus Ogu. I am a Nigerian. And first of all, I would like to begin with thanking the speakers. And I would confess it is an insightful symposium. First thing I want to comment on is the address or a short theme by the first keynote speaker who talked about safety as safety not being a cost but an investment. I thank you very much for that particular insightful quote, and I think it will help everyone, not only as a safety officer or as a safety personnel, but as a human being who is driving on the road. Then on the second note, I would like to talk about um, the unsafe imported vehicles as mentioned by Ms. Neka. So this is the problem of Africa. So, and I want to thank you. It is not a question, but I want to thank you for actually capturing that. Despite coming to Bahrain and coming from a background where there is relatively low accidents, and also capturing Africa, where we have a major problem. I'm not here to expose my continent, but to speak the facts. So, and I love what you guys are doing, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was really my pleasure to be with you here today. I enjoy all the presentations. It's really very nice and informative. I'm coming from different background. My name is Dr. Abdurrahman Gharib. I am ENT sleep medicine surgeon. So from totally different angle, but we are dealing, by the way, with a main problem of crashes and accidents and drowsy driving. Thank to you. You mentioned about the November is a highlight safety day or something like driving safety. At the same time, the American Association and Foundation they assign November month. This month exactly is a month of safety driving, and they give it the name the drowsy driving prevention month. So that's highlight the importance of drowsy driving, how it affect the whole things, and they put it under the motto sleep, sleep first, and drive left. So that shows the association between sleeping and driving and the safety on road traffic accidents. By the way, worldwide they start to put guidelines how to really assist the drivers. And they put category for which driver we have to start with. Is it the industry, transportation drivers? We have to start with them. We have to do something called, and we have to know, by the way, among the shift worker, we have something called the micro sleep. They tend to sleep for a second. Calculations, 5 seconds of micro sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means you drive 139 meter, bigger than a football play yard. So this time means there is a lot of things can be happen. So that highlights the importance of the safety driving and prevent drowsy driving. I hope that will be included also in your talk in the future. Thank you very much.
Other speakers have not commented on all the points. So I'll talk specific, so I encourage you to talk. About the bicycle accidents and situation with Corona, we depend now on home delivery. These bicycle drivers are very poor. They're getting sensitive. They increase the business, i.e., using life fast. And look at this. I want you to shed light on that. To Sheikh, I would say that education is very important, and safety education should not start for the lorry drivers when they get old. It should be from younger age. How do you look at that? One more. How do we generate funds for our society? I mean, our society will so much difficulties. Wednesday, we invited the minister to attend the closure of the society because they had to change one of the rules to make us able to train and generate fund and exchange. So the funding, people still don't recognize this is investment. And in terms of the policy, it's fantastic to be honest. How do we get to average people in the street? Many good points you mentioned. I don't know, but how do we spread the knowledge of safety? I'll let you comment as you are.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Wills, as you said, we are from a poor background. As you said, the accidents are getting more of the delivery boys. And I can tell you, sir, we are also one of the reason. Why I'm saying that we are one of the reason. Whenever I visit the Talabat companies, when we visit Talabat companies, the riders personally says, sir, even 1 minute we are late, the order is cancelled. The customer is not ready to bear that 1 minute. So sometimes we have to go in such a way which violation happens on the road and they go here and they make this kind of violation. So as we all, the society, we have to make sure that in our environment we know that there is a traffic congestion in these places. So even the delivery boys are late for 1 minute or 2 minutes, don't put blame on them. Just we have to coordinate with them. That's our duty from our side, I can say so. And the awareness campaign, we are doing our Major Kulu research, the head of the awareness campaign. We are continuously doing in multiple languages because mostly the delivery boys are from different countries. So we are reaching out in 6-7 languages to make sure that every rules have been followed. So we go to their workplace, we go in the field on the road, we will give them rewards for them, donating helmets for them. So they are not ever about the safety measures. Their thinking is only about earning some money for their livelihood. So doctor, we will do our level best in next. Thank you very much.
So, Dr. Zubair, your answer is about education. We do try to go to variety of schools around Bahrain, starting from the age 3 to 4-year-olds, all the way up to senior years, all the way to college students and even workers throughout the company. For children, we do try to teach them as much as possible to, when they go to the bus, what to do exact. So how do they leave the bus? What is the instruction they have to follow? And for going on the pedestrian line, how do they walk the pedestrian line? Where is it safe for them from leaving to school walking? So this is the most thing we teach primary students. Middle school and high school usually we focus on scooters and licensing because they're on the way to take their driving license, so we do teach them. College students, we teach them about road safety because they started to drive. We try to teach them as much as possible to follow the rules and regulations for traffic safety and for their own safety also around our road.
Thank you. So, just wanted to, the point about the used vehicles, it's not so relevant here, but underneath that regulation that the policy, the program is also looking on the ground, how do we equip stakeholders to do the vehicle inspections? Because obviously you can't see all the defects by just looking. So you need to be skilled in doing the vehicle inspections, and the regulations around vehicle inspections need to be in place. If I'm understanding correctly, vehicle inspections seem to be an issue that could be improved here. So just another area where commonalities and gaps that we have to address is prevalent in countries, in high-income countries. There was a point that someone else raised, but I can't remember what it was. Funding, right? But before the funding, I wanted to speak a little bit about the motorcycle. So it's an issue that we're really putting a big focus on, and this issue about the equity. So the low pay that these riders are having, and their personal incentive to then drive fast. So we don't really focus on them per se. There is awareness raising and education, and we promote other stakeholders to do the training of the riders and things like this. But we're looking more at who's really accountable here, and so we're looking at the employers. So we're working, for example, with Uber and Grab to really talk about what policies do you have in place to inform these contractors, these riders, about what is the expectation and safety working for a company like Uber or like Grab. And so we really put the responsibility on the company to trickle down what is the safety expectation there. And so the policies have to make sense as well. So it doesn't make sense that you promise to deliver in 5 minutes when you know the average time is 7. And so these are some of the things that we're working on with them to really help to improve that situation, because we can't deter the fact that these guys will want to speed to meet the delivery expectation. And another thing particular to Bahrain is that if I read my report correctly, there is no mandatory law on helmet fastening in Bahrain. So this is a really important issue, because the major cause of death for motorcyclists will be related to a head injury. And if there is no law in the country, so there's no top-down regulation saying you need to wear it properly, then that is a big contributing factor to the road deaths for these groups of people. So even the government has a role to play in improving the safety of these motorcyclists. So it's not just about them, which is an important part, of course, but there's also the system needs to play its part as well, and there are different between the consumers, which you mentioned. To the point you're talking about the BHSS, you're talking about the political society. So I don't know the full structure of the society, whether it's volunteers or paid staff, but just in general, it's voluntary. Right, well, which makes it somewhat easier, because it does an important clarification. That means that you're looking for funding solely for your activities, not for the people working. It's solely for the activities that you're looking for funding. So this is really helpful, because particularly when you're anchored in a community, in a country, I think it's much easier to say to a partner, whether it's a government or private sector or international, to say, or expat, people who are living abroad who want to see improvements in their home country, to say, we don't need your money, we need in kind. Or we need your money, but it's for this very particular, very specific initiative. And so it's very transactional. They can see in a couple of weeks or months or a few years what is the result, what is the progress. So I think the basic point here is, in your situation, you have the benefit where you have the tangible outcome right there. They can touch it, but also you have the possibility to say to someone, you can plant your flag. A lot of donors like to see that. They like to see that they were the ones that put all the speed bumps up or all the traffic signs up. If you can also show impact, that's a crucial part as well. So I was speaking, I think it was with Dr. Ishra, I'm not sure if it was him. Even if you do a campaign around awareness raising and education, you need to be able to show that when you put in that investment, there was a change, there was a result. So you have to always have the impact ready to show so that you can invite other players to come on board. I mean, it becomes more intricate if I do the details of the society, but just generally speaking, demonstrate the impact and show the local, the local action. I think our top tips for getting more stakeholders on board to support the work that the BHSS is doing.
I think you covered everything.
No, he wants to pinpoint out to the community.
Dr. Ala between the last closing.
Okay.
Please.
I believe that simplicity is perfection. It's simple. You have to break issues into simple parts because you're addressing different educational, levels. And the other thing is that we have to remember that we are, beings who resist change. We hate change. Change disturbs us. If you're driving this route and suddenly there is some sort of modification or diversion, you become panicked, and we don't like change. We like to live in our comfort zone. But we have to train our people to embrace change. And not change like a word, because leaders here keep saying, we want to change and change and change and change. But when you address your own staff, you have to tell them and tell them what's in it for you, how you're going to buy in it. So there's a guy who's driving a motorbike, and the more he drives, the more he earns. Come on, guys. I want to earn more money. So I will drive, I want to fight food. So I will drive. But how do you plan on convincing that one time you can sustain an accident and you put food on the table for your family? You have to be simple, buy change for him, make him embrace change, let him buy it, own it, and that's how I will approach my. And we have a success story with 400 people from Bahrain. Thank God, all of them now they are employed. All right. So thank you very much.
As we come to the close of today's Road Safety Symposium, I want to sincerely thank each one of you of your time, insight, and commitment. Remember, road safety is not just a topic for discussions today. It is shared responsibility that we carry forward every decision we make on the road and beyond. Change begins with the awareness, grows with collaboration, and succeeded action. Let us take that we have learned today and turn it into meaningful steps towards safer roads for our communities, our families, and future generations. Together, we have the power to save lives. Let's commit the change. Thank you all and stay safe.